Hi, I'm Stephanie Black. I serve as the Associate Director for Orientation and Training with Theologians Without Borders. And today I'm talking with Dr. John Enyanya, who is Professor of Theology and Dean of the School of Graduate Studies at Nigerian Baptist Theological Seminary in Agbomoso, Nigeria. So John, welcome to our interview.
Thank you, Dr. Stephanie, thank you.
I'm going to ask you, what is NBTS's situation? What was the situation going into the COVID-19 pandemic, and how have the shutdowns affected what you're doing there?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Stephanie, for the privilege of this conversation and to share from our own struggles and our own experiences. Prior to March 2020, when the COVID crisis started, the Nbts of Agbomoso had a plan. The plan was to gradually migrate into online teaching and learning. And it was set over a period of 5-6 years. And to the point that our hope was that in the next 3 years from now, we will be able to offer full programs online, sort of trying to put in place what was required, and capacity and facilities and all of that. But this was the detail of the plan. We sort of broke the plan into 4 areas. Power. You'll be familiar that in Africa we have power issues. And so the idea was to install solar energy to provide power more regularly, make it more stable. And then, God willing, that solar power project will be commissioned this year. We're almost there, completing it. But it started some 5-6 years ago. Then the second part of the plan was in terms of facilities. We had some kind of makeshift arrangements that we were using. And so the plan was within the last 5 years to put up a structure, a building. And it was completed 2 years ago. And the third part of the plan was to develop, was administrative. So the seminary set up a distance learning unit to sort of drive the movement to online learning. And then finally, the area of capacity. So by 4 or 5 years ago, we started training faculty to be able to build courses online and to take courses online. We try to provide orientation for students as well, to be able to cope with that kind of learning.
We thought a comprehensive strategy, and then
suddenly in March 2020, everything was disorganized. What we thought was a good plan turned out to be not quite good at the end of the day.
What were the specific challenges?
The challenges have been basically in the area of capacity. As we stand today, as we speak today, only about 20% to 30% of our faculty can offer classes online from beginning to end. So that leaves a huge percentage who are not really ready for what has been thrown at us. And then we also have challenges. Our solar power is not yet running. We're hoping that before the end of the year it will start. So we'll have power issues also. Even though power on the compound is much better than outside the town, and but at a very high cost to the seminary. Then we have issues of facilities too. We've been trying to encourage our students to procure laptops and gadgets that will help them to be able to take advantage of online education. We've been successful with our postgraduate students, basically, but our undergraduate students, who form a big majority of our students, we've succeeded only up to about 50%. So you have a situation where only about 50% of bachelor's degree students and MDiv students have laptops and maybe tablets and Android phones. I would say that a larger majority will have Android phones, but you will still have some who don't even have Android phones. So we have had challenges in that area. Another challenge we have had has been the number of some of the classes. Our postgraduate courses or classes are smaller in number, 5, 6, 10, sometimes maximum 15. But then you have bachelor's degree classes that are up to 90, up to 100. And that has sort of thrown their teachers off balance.
Have you found any ways to connect with those students that are working in this context? Particularly, I'm thinking of those undergraduates who might not have their own laptops or just generally may not have as many resources.
Yeah, because what the seminary has, after the school was closed, the 3rd week of March, the seminary sort of realized that this was going to be a long break and that we needed to start doing something. So everybody was encouraged to structure something, to plan something, to start something, so that the whole period would not just be wasted. And so we began. Like I said, for the postgraduate classes, it's been fairly easy. And most of us have concluded our classes online. Some are about to conclude. But for the undergrad classes, they have tried to use platforms and applications that don't require high-speed internet, number one, like WhatsApp, like Telegram. Some use Google Classroom, and some have tried Zoom, but they try to reduce the number of times to maybe 1 or 2 Zoom sessions. And then most of the work is done on WhatsApp, on Telegram, and a couple of them on Google Classroom.
So can you give, you may or may not have to hand, any specific examples of how you've used the phones, for example, to do this with WhatsApp or Telegram? How are students sending materials back and forth? Are they interacting in groups? How does that look from the student's perspective?
Okay, so the classes we've tried, because it's not actually all the undergrad classes that have even done anything. There are some that have not done anything since the break. None at all. But some that have worked, what they did was to create platforms on WhatsApp, and materials are sent to the students by email. Those that can be sent on the WhatsApp platform are also sent. But basically, sending materials and submitting assignments have been via email, but interactions have happened on the WhatsApp platforms and the Telegram platforms. So it's been more like send materials to students, tell them what sections to read for a week, tell them what you would like them to reflect on, and then they post their reactions on the platform, and others are able to read and react, and the lecturer also can react with the students. So that's basically what they have been trying to do.
Great.
But I tried to talk with 1 or 2 of our colleagues just this week, and I realized that they have had challenges that in some of the classes, especially the large ones, the attendance has not been 100%. There are about 10 to 20% of students that are shut out, and they complain about power issues, internet issues, and cost issues, and all of that. Right now, we don't have a solution for that. But the majority of the students are able to join because of these other approaches that don't require high-speed internet and that don't require even a laptop. That with a phone, you can work on your WhatsApp, you can work on your Telegram, and you can even do Google Classroom.
Wow. Thank you. That's very helpful for us to visualize what's actually happening on the ground there. Have there been any unexpected benefits of having to shift to more online? Maybe, maybe not.
Yes, there have been. Traditionally, Nbts has thrived on face-to-face teaching and learning. Apart from maybe a decade ago, or maybe less, actually less, 5-6 years ago, nobody thought we will ever come to the point of offering anything online. So we've thrived on face-to-face contact. Most of our students have always lived on campus, so it's been more like a family kind of thing. But now we realize that we can actually do some good work online. And we don't have to wait for students to come here to the compound before we can work with them. Number two, that we can also capture a wider population. Several are not able to come to the seminary because of their jobs, because of a number of other issues. But we now suddenly realize that we can actually float programs online and be able to capture those ones who will not be able to come for face-to-face contacts. And then thirdly, and very importantly also for us, especially at the postgrad level, we've realized that we can engage a wider variety of facilitators for some of our courses. In the past, you have to get a visa if you're coming from the US or UK or anywhere. Get a visa, plan travel, come and spend 2 weeks or 3 to teach a class. But we suddenly realized that we can actually get facilitators to facilitate courses from where they are. And that has been a huge advantage. At the moment, because of this crisis, by now, we should have been having our graduation this coming Saturday by our original calendar. So we realized that, of course, having been out of school for about 10 weeks, there's no way that can hold. So for our postgraduate dissertations and theses, what we did this year was, or what we're doing now, is to send the work electronically to assessors. And they read and they do assessment. In some cases, we're able to do telephone defense. We're able to do Zoom defense. And some who are not comfortable with all of that will just read and give us an assessment, observations and recommendations, and the students are able to implement that. So we have suddenly realized that we don't have to depend on people who are close to us to do those things for us. We can go further afield, a wider variety of facilitators, of assessors, and be able to benefit from that kind of reach out.
That is a fantastic insight about the unexpected benefits. This is so helpful. Before we go, do you have any particular words of advice for administrators, leaders who are in situations like yours in other institutions?
Well, my simple suggestion would be, like in our own case, in the very first week or two, it was overwhelming. The challenge was overwhelming. You know, suddenly school was closed. We didn't know what to do. And not being prepared, we now had to now offer all our classes online. We were not prepared for it and we were overwhelmed. So my suggestion would be, number one, to try not to be overwhelmed, to sit down and to do an assessment. Where are you in terms of facility, in terms of capacity? Capacity for faculty, students. Where are you in terms of facilities like students having the right gadgets to take advantage of that kind of learning, internet access, power issues? Do a fair, realistic assessment and then make a plan. And to try not to be shy, to start small in spite of the overwhelming nature of the crisis. Whatever can be started, take off and start. Do the little you could and build on it. And perhaps you make progress like that.
I think that is fantastic advice. Thank you so much. We've been talking with Dr. John Enyinaya from Nigerian Baptist Theological Seminary. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. God bless you.